You're listening to Get Tilted, only on Fantasy Now Plus.
What is up, everyone? What is up, best ball brethren? Tim with Fantasy Now Plus here, back for some more best ball drafts. We are back on Drafters today. Gonna put some entries into the best ball main event flagship tournament for Drafters. How are y'all doing? Football is back, kind of. The Hall of Fame game is not really football, but it is the start of football yet to come. So, still exciting. I'm not watching, obviously. Not really going to pay attention, even if my Cardinals are playing. Don't particularly care. I would rather be drafting some best ball teams. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and hop into a main event. See how long it takes to fill. Joining a fast draft. Need 3 more people. Folks, as a reminder, if you have not signed up for Drafters and would like to do so, you can use the promo code FN+, that is FN and the plus symbol. With your first deposit, you will get a 100% deposit match up to $100 from Drafters. So, if you're interested in joining this contest, if you're interested in drafting in these streets, highly recommend doing that. It'll go a long ways. There's a $10 Survivor contest that drafted a couple drafts in last night. $10 per entry. You can get 20 entries in if you deposit $100 and get that $100 extra. Or you can get a pretty decent amount of main events in. Math is a little harder to divide 200 by 15, but it's not as much as 20, but certainly still in the teens somewhere for sure. So, again, if you want to join Drafters, please use the promo code FN and the plus sign, FN+. And if you want to sign up on Underdog, we're not going to stream on Underdog tonight, but if you want to sign up on Underdog and have not yet, we have a promo code for that as well. That's the one that you'll see on your screen right now. That is FN+, with plus spelled out as a word, FNPLUS. Looks like we are full. Going to be drafting out of the 7 hole here. This will be my 15th main event drafted. And not a lot of news has happened today specifically. Jahmyr Gibbs signed a contract after Bijan signed his contract extension, so both the number 1 and number 2 overall pretty much consensus best ball picks are signed long term. They're going to be back at practice. They're going to be full go for this season. And yeah, nice to not have to worry about that for sure. Really looking forward to this NFL season. I'm interested to see if Parker Washington gets paid anytime soon. We will see it in that regard, but as of right now, nothing yet for him, but that is okay. What is up, J-Cup? Rate my draft. 12-man snake draft, 2 flex spots, drafted from pick 8 in a standard league. Took James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Cam Skattebo, Bashal Tutin, DJ Moore, Tucker Kraft, Parker Washington, Cortland Sutton, Jaden Reed, Kenneth Gainwell, Jordan Mason, Malik Willis, and Chris Rodriguez. Definitely a lot of running backs. I am on the clock here. Let me make this pick. This has been a weird draft so far. I'm going to take JSN. Puka Nakua falls to 6. Ashton Genty goes at 5. Amon-Ra at 4. Alrighty. We are off to the races already. But yeah, definitely running back heavy draft there, which in standard, don't mind at all. Think that's probably the right move to make. I mean, I'm definitely would feel a little squeamish about your receiver room, but in standard, receivers don't really matter all that much. It's all touchdowns, more or less. So you took your first 2 picks were running backs and good offenses that should get a lot of touchdowns. You have 2 upside picks at running back after that to fill your flex most weeks, and Tucker Kraft is a good bounce back, strong tight end candidate. And, Malik Willis will hopefully score touchdowns. But, in a 1 QB redraft league, you can certainly play the waiver wire at quarterback throughout the season as you need to do so. No big worry there for sure. But, yeah, I think it's a good draft. It's got a good foundation. Obviously, you need your top picks to stay healthy, but for the most part, I really like that start, and I think you picked the right approach of going running back heavy. Speaking of running backs, I'm going to take Devon Achane, pair with Jackson Smith-Njigba. Little boring, little cookie cutter, but that's how we're going to do it. Grade, I'd say it's hard to know fully without seeing your entire board for sure, but just from a construction standpoint, most of your player takes, I'd say A minus. Quarterback is definitely scariest for me, but I think Willis is a fine shot to take for sure. Rushing upside is huge. I just am really, really nervous that there's just not going to be touchdowns to have for him and for the entire Dolphins offense, which is, hilarious because I just took Devon Achane at 18, but, time will tell. Teams like the Dolphins surprise us every year. We can't all say that we know for certain the Dolphins are going to be awful. They seem awful on paper, for sure, but nothing guarantees that they're going to be awful, and if Malik Willis is actually halfway decent, then they'll probably be fine. And if they're fine, then he's good for fantasy. So it's just the Justin Fields bet. Justin Fields bet, to me, is a good bet to make. So don't mind that at all. Think that's a good baseline. I would definitely just be kind of looking out on the waiver wire, see what QBs are floating around currently, and depending on what happens. Okay, here's something that I'm thinking. If you're gonna spend your 4th round pick on Bashal Tutin, I just wouldn't roster Chris Rodriguez. You're making the bet already. You're betting that Tutin is the guy and is going to be pretty much the workhorse from day one. So I probably just wouldn't have Chris Rodriguez on my roster. I would go for a second quarterback if we're a little queasy about Willis, and if there's decent options, I would see what kind of wide receiver flyers are floating around. Is there a young rookie like Omar Cooper Jr. available? Is someone like Debo or Stephon Diggs? But I think overall it's a good team. I'd say A minus for sure. And good luck to you. I don't mind Zay Flowers, but Devonta Smith fell a little bit past ADP, and as you can see, I have a handy little tool here in the bottom right. This is just a free Chrome extension called the Bag Manager. It will basically just give you some overlays, give you some stats on how many people you've drafted over all of your drafts. You can do drafters, underdog, DraftKings, FFPC. You can do a combo, all that stuff. And I had 10% Zay Flowers. I only had about 6%, 7% Devonta Smith. Got Smith at a bit of a value, so figured let's just pull the trigger on that. And there's just really weird stuff happening in this draft, like Brock Purdy going in the 3rd round. Not quite as tragic a Q auto pick as someone in this chat caused yesterday, but still tragic. Absolutely. Appreciate you tuning in, leaving a comment. Feel free to keep on asking questions. Happy to keep on providing answers and giving my opinion on stuff. That's why I'm here, is to yap and give opinions. So, fire away. They take Terry McLaurin. Javante's the ADP faller. I only have 3%. That's on purpose. Probably going to keep it that way. For me, I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. I think he's probably a little mispriced in the 4th round still. I mean, he was going at the 2-3 turn all off season until this legal trouble stuff hit, and I just don't think he's getting suspended this year. Maybe next year, probably not at all, because most players just don't get suspended by the NFL anymore. But yeah, Purdy before Allen definitely was a star method. I have CMC remind myself to get Purdy later, queued him up, and then accidentally auto-picked. So, you know, it's no Taylon Green, but it is still certainly tragic for that individual, for sure. So he better draft every 49er at this point, because he really needs them to absolutely smash now with Brock Purdy at pick 32. Let's see. Anything else interesting happening in this draft? This drafter right in front of me has gotten basically all the value of the weird side of the board. You know, Genti going at 5, they get Puka at 6, they get Rashee Rice at 30. They can pair with Javonte, who usually goes on the right side of the board. Has AJ Brown as well. So, a lot of weird stuff happening in this draft. Bucky goes. I'm kind of tempted by Mike Evans here. I also like JMO. I like Christian Watson. Let's go JMO. Only have 6% of him. Could use more, and feels a little better just from a youth perspective, for sure. On, you know, I have an older Jacobs, I have a prime but injured already Devonta Smith. You know, I could add Mike Evans. I don't think that's a bad pick whatsoever, but with Jacobs being a little 50-50-ish, I'd rather go someone who doesn't currently have an injury concern and doesn't have past injury concerns that have been repetitive throughout their career like Mike Evans does. So kind of mitigating risk a little bit, increasing exposure, trying to just have a balance, you know. I don't want these exposures down here to be 30-40% of any one player over my portfolio. As a portfolio drafter, to some extent, I certainly don't want to just put all my chips in very select bags and pray. You know, I'd rather just draft good teams for the most part, make some decisions where I need to make decisions as far as players that I think are grossly mispriced, I will have a bigger bag of, but for the most part, just kind of seeing what happens, playing what happens as it comes to me. Let's see here. Daniels goes. I like Hurts, but I'm going to try and push him around the turn. Yeah, let's go Carnell Tate. Have 9%. Probably want to get that into the double digits. He's 4th overall pick. Time will tell if that offense is truly good or not, but 4th overall pick is usually just a good bet to make. I can get him in the middle of the 6th round pretty consistently. And Brian Daboll's not like a terrible play caller. Like, he's a good play caller, I would argue. So if Cam Ward is anything whatsoever, could work out. Could work out. Don't have to pay a premium for Tate at all. He went after Jordan Tyson in this draft, who I think is also a good pick and right around this range, but I think there's similar bets, to be honest. I like Tyler Shuck more than Cam Ward, but I don't necessarily think that, like, you absolutely have to give the nod to the Saints offense on paper. Like, I think Tennessee has potential. Hurts goes here unstacked. That's fine. It was always going to be a long shot, but don't think that Hurts was, like, absolutely essential for this team. I think Tate was kind of the last of a tier for me, and Jadarian Price was the last of a tier at running back if Tate hadn't been there. So I think both of those players would have had to have been off the board for me to really pull Jalen Hurts up half a round or so there. Alrighty. We're about 3 picks into the 7th round already. So far, I have a 0-2-4-0. Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs at running back. JSN, Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, Carnell Tate at wide receiver. I feel pretty balanced so far. Right now, there's a whole slew of wide receivers that seem to be coming down the pipe. You will see who falls and who I feel like taking. Lots of players available here. Where's the lad drafter? Am I blind? He's way over there. Let's try a Quentin Johnston share. I don't love that price. I think he's kind of overpriced, but I do love Justin Herbert. I do love the potential of the Chargers offense. So, again, I don't think Herbert gets past the 12 drafter with Ladd, but maybe he really prefers Dak for whatever reason. He already has Lamar unstacked, which is fine, but we will see what happens, see if they take Herbert, see if they take Dak, see what happens. You know, you're not going to build the best team in the contest without taking some risks. Sometimes you just need good players to fall to you. You can't always reach. You have to let ADP work its magic. Takes Kraft. I'm assuming takes Dak. So unless someone takes Herbert unstacked, which isn't crazy. I mean, there's a few back stacks available for Herbert, but there's a decent chance that Herbert falls back to me at 90, which would be wonderful for this team. You know, I did pass on Hurts. He was easily the best quarterback available to us without going unstacked. Let's see if... I mean, this team already has 2 quarterbacks. This team's only quarterback already has a Week 7 bye. So it'd be kind of weird to take another quarterback with a Week 7 bye, but we have seen quite strange things happen so far in any given draft, and in this draft. So hopefully they don't auto-pick Justin Herbert, because that would be tragic for me, and tragic for them. So that'd be their 3rd quarter through 8 rounds. So They do not. So we get Herbert. That feels excellent. Not a huge QJ believer by any stretch of the imagination, but Mike McDaniel seems to love this guy. He's been talking him up all summer. I think Herbert's talented. I think he's just kind of been stuck in bad offenses and had bad injury luck for the pieces around him so far in his career, except for one season where he won Rookie of the Year. So, love Herbert. I think he's got a rushing floor that people are still a little uncertain about, and I don't think they should be. I think he's going to run for 300 to 500 yards, just depending on situation and how the season goes. And I like his upside. I like the upside of the Chargers. I think the Chargers, it's not really sneaky because everyone loves the Chargers, but I think they could like legitimately be the best offense in football if everything goes their way. Like, I think Hampton's very talented. I really like both Keaton Mitchell and Kamani Vidal behind them. I think they've got a deep running back room. I think they have a deep wide receiver core. You've got Ladd, you've got QJ, you've got Trey Harris, you have Keandre Lambert-Smith, you have Brennan Thompson. They have a deep tight end room. They have the Kohler Bear, Charlie Kolar, Aronde Gadsden, David Njoku. They have a couple fullbacks. Like, they just have so many offensive pieces that are going to be involved in this team. Like, it kind of gets to the point where it's like, I don't really want to have like 3 or 4 pass catchers on the same team, because I think they're all just probably gonna eat into each other's workloads a bit. But for the most part, I do think it's like, it's good to have probably a Charger on every team. Now, I'm going to try and push Goff around the turn. Amon-Ra drafters on this side, as is the Laporta drafter. I'm going to take Harold Fannin, one of my favorite tight end clicks, on the board. I know it's the Browns. I agree with you. It's scary. The offense is not going to be good. But Fannin's just one of those dudes where it just kind of doesn't matter. And I think you just take those dudes regardless of offensive situation. And the fact that he's cheap, he's a 9th, 10th round pick, I'm happy to get a discount on him. I think he's just clearly one of like the top 3 to 5 tight ends in football. And I'm okay with knowing that his touchdown upside is somewhat capped. He's still an explosive threat after the catch. He's still going to be the primary target for the Browns. Todd Monken will, at the very least, attempt to call up and draw up plays to make sure that he's the primary target in this offense. So, have no concerns about the workload, have no concerns about really anything with him except how capped the offense might be. But that's okay, because I'm taking him in the 9th round. You know, I'm not even paying Tucker Kraft prices or Sam Laporta prices. I'm getting him a full 20 to 25 picks later, and that feels good to me. So, not worried at all about Fannin, one of my favorite clicks on the board. And he's a great way to either pair with an elite tight end like Bowers or McBride or Loveland even, but he's also great to start a tight end room like I have here. He feels like an anchor either way. He feels like a bonus to me, so I just like to take him. Hopefully we'll get Goff here. If we don't get Goff, I have Jacobs. Don't really want to stack Love with him. That's a little silly. If Goff just goes here unstacked, like, I'd probably just push quarterback, but he does not, so we're going to take him. That feels great. So far, we have a 2-2-5-1. Went Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devon Achan, Devonta Smith, Josh Jacobs, Jameson Williams, Carnell Tate, Quentin Johnston, Justin Herbert, Harold Fannin, and Jared Goof. In the 10th, went 2 running backs in the first 4 rounds, so am feeling light on running back, but not behind on running back, just thin, and that's okay, because we have 10 more rounds to go. We are going to fill out this room. We are going to add depth. We're going to add opportunity. I am not worried about it. Don't put in the paper that I'm worried, because I'm not worried. Appreciate folks tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, if you have any opinions, anything you want to discuss, please feel free to drop a comment. Happy to talk through your thoughts. Happy to talk through my thoughts on your thoughts. Rate teams, draft strategy, dynasty talk, anything. Open to all of it. Just a fantasy football sicko. So please feel free to engage. Would love it. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to Get Tilted on YouTube. Fantasy Now Plus on YouTube and on Twitch. We really appreciate the support, and we are ramping up content for the summer. I'm going to reach a little bit, and I'm going to take Keaton Mitchell. We have a bit of a Chargers thing going. I just like Keaton Mitchell. I need more Keaton Mitchell in my life. I think him just being another Devon Achan is overblown. I don't think that's realistically in his range of outcomes, but he absolutely can and most likely will be used in the Devon Achan role in this offense, and that's a valuable role for players that are talented with speed, the ability to produce explosives. That's what we're looking for. So he's not going to be a workhorse. He's not the guy to have if Hampton goes down with injury. He's probably just going to be a design touch, 8 to 12 touch kind of back at his peak regardless, but that's kind of what Devon Achan was as a rookie, and he smashed in that role. So I don't think it's truly a Mostert Achan type of backfield. I think Hampton's just far better than Mostert ever was, and could be better than Achan ever was. But Keaton Mitchell's got talent. He was on a very poorly constructed Baltimore Ravens offense. He was stuck behind the king, and Greg Roman didn't know how to use him. Todd Monken wasn't much better in that regard. I think we are going to have a lot better luck with Mike McDaniel. We are about on the clock here. Have a 2-3-5-1. He is really wanting me to stack Malik Willis with Devon Achan. Not overly interested in that, if I'm honest. Chris Rodriguez goes. He's someone I was looking at. Let's go Woody Marks here. Get another back in the room. It's going to probably be the pass catcher for the Houston Texans. That's not the most exciting click in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but that's okay. He's going to play. I highly, highly doubt that David Montgomery is just a workhorse in all 3 downs for this team. I think he will get some passing work, but I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Marks to get passing work when needed. And was he good last year? No, absolutely not. But he was a good pick. He was cheap. He was like a 16th to 18th round pick, basically all of best ball season. He can't run between the tackles basically at all, but that's fine. You know, that's not what we're drafting him for. We're drafting him for pass catching. This is a full PPR website. He will get points for every reception. He still has some explosion in space that I think the Texans wanted to use more this year, and that's kind of why they ended up trading for David Montgomery. I think they wanted someone who can run between the tackles, who can keep them ahead of the sticks, all of that good coach speak stuff. But then I think they still have faith that Marks can give them a few explosives in the passing game, can do some things in space, and I think they're going to at least try. Whether that will succeed or not, we don't know. But if we knew how any of these things would succeed, drafting would be boring because we would already know the result. So we're making guesses, and that's okay. I like Chig. I like Juwan Johnson. And Brenton Strange, honestly. And the wide receivers. Lots of interesting picks here. Have Fannin. Let's go Chig. I definitely think Chig is affected to some extent by the Stephon Diggs signing. There was a realistic chance before that Chig was just like the second option on this team behind Terry McLaurin. He is certainly not that now, but I don't think he's just dead in the water either. I think he's now the third option, which for Jaden Daniels is still a good option to be. Like, he's going to get play action passes, he's going to get deep throws, he might get some underneath stuff, but that'll probably mostly go to Diggs. It's still a good offense that we feel confident will bounce back. Jaden Daniels, we feel confident in the talent in. Chig could still easily score 6 to 10 touchdowns on a good year if things bounce his way. That feels great in round 13 if it plays out that way, you know. So I get why he's falling. I think he should, but I think this is kind of still the range that I would take him in, you know. I think Juwan Johnson's kind of a similar bet. Brenton Strange is arguably a worse bet. Hunter Henry is a similar bet. You know, we're in a solid range. So, like Chig there, we are now to a 2-4-5-2 in the 14th round. Denzel Boston goes pretty early. We'll talk about him in just a minute once we make this pick here. Oh, what to do with this selection? We're going to let this clock run all the way down. They take A.D. Mitchell. They are doing a mega jet stack. God be with them. I have not enough of him, usually because I take Travis Hunter or Dylan Sampson a lot in this round. So, trying to mix things up a little, trying to get more players that I want a bigger exposure of. So we're going to take Jaden Blue. We now have 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. We are perfectly balanced, as all things should be, as they say in Hollywood. Justin Herbert, Jared Goff at quarterback, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Keaton Mitchell, Woody Marks, Jaden Blue at running back. Wide receivers, 5 early, 5 strong. JSN, Devontae Smith, Jamison Williams, Carnell Tate, Quentin Johnston. At tight end, we have Harold Fannin and Chig Okonkwo. We're in round 15, which means we have 6 rounds left. I'm good with 2 quarterbacks on this team. If we get a third one at a value, I won't say no, but I kind of imagine that we're not going to. Pretty much the only one that really would make sense for this team is Fernando Mendoza, and that would probably be in like the 17th round. I doubt he falls that far, but we'll see. We've got a whole slew of tight ends coming back to us at the top of the queue here. It's one in Gadsden. I do have Herbert and Johnston, but I do not like what's coming out about Gadsden right now and the lack of anything. So I'm actually going to take Greg Dulcich, pair with Devon Achane as my third tight end. That feels like a strong tight end room to end it. I think he's probably the primary pass catcher in Miami, which I don't think is that valuable, but in the 15th round, like, if he gets 55 receptions for 625 yards and 4 touchdowns, like, that's fine in round 15. I don't need him to be a star, but he probably is just going to get a lot of targets, a lot of receptions, could be used in the goal line pretty frequently. We'll see. Miami is a total enigma. We have no real idea who any of their pass catchers are going to be outside of Achane and Dulcich. Wide receiver room is an absolute mystery. My excellent co-host thinks it's Malik Washington's season. I don't think it's ever been Malik Washington's season, but if we're going to find out, it will be this season for sure. It will be this year. We'll see. I don't particularly like drafting him because I don't really want to find out, but we still aren't really getting buzz out of camp either. That's a situation that we are looking at closely, or watching, trying to see who's popping up, and the answer is just no one, which is not ideal at all. But Mendoza goes. Geno Smith should go to the guy directly in front of me. We'll see if he does. He could go to... No, he already has 3 quarterbacks, so I don't know where Geno Smith is going to go. He could fall a bit. As much as I like Sadiq, I don't need a 4th tight end on this team, even if he is a pure upside swing. Let's see. Running back is pretty wiped. I'll probably go either Tucker or Justice Hill here. He goes Tucker, so I'll go Hill. Get our 6th running back. I'm thinking probably 1 more running back, 3 more wide receivers here to close this out. That would give us a 2-7-8-3, which is a totally cromulent structure for me. If Geno falls all the way back around to 199, then I'll probably just click the button and figure out how I want to adjust my construction, but I'm not pressed for a 3rd quarterback. I think Herbert is a top tier, and I think Goff is perfectly good to fine. I think between those two, I can generate plenty of points as needed. I'm not super worried about that. Let's see. Running backs left that I like. Mike Washington. I think Kalen Black is fine. I think George Halani's probably fine. I think he will get touches to start the year. Probably not a ton to finish the year. Emmett Johnson's good. I still think James Conner gets a job somewhere. I think DJ Giddens is probably the backup running back. That's about it. Running back is just disgusting down here. Wide receiver's a lot more fun, a lot more names that are fun to click and you can tell yourself a story about. What do we want to do here? Probably going to push running back. I'm going to take Ted Hurst. Jalen McMillan is injured again. We don't know the full extent of it yet, but if it ends up being even a little bit serious, he's going to have a great opportunity right out of the gate in Tampa, probably as the 3rd wide receiver in 3 wide receiver sets. with Godwin or Igbuka moving to the slot when they're in 11. He's, traditional X, probably a sacrificial X, if we're being honest, but there's also a slim chance that he's not sacrificial and that he actually gives you some scores that are worth rostering. So I think in round 17, he's a totally fine click. Right now, our wide receiver room is JSN, Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, Carnell Tate, Quentin Johnston, and Ted Hurst. We're going to add at least 2 more, maybe even 3 more. I'm not enthralled with any of the running back options floating around, but I'm also not overly enthralled with a lot of the receiver options floating around. The bottom of the board is getting real disgusting nowadays. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna just keep taking Tyquan Thornton, to be honest. I know that Cyrus Allen is getting some buzz in camp, which is great. We would love for a young player like Allen to emerge. But there's also a chance that it's just camp buzz, and I think if that's the case, Tyquan Thornton is just a starting wide receiver for them in 3 wide receiver sets. He's just going to go deep constantly. Mahomes seems to actually connect with Thornton more than he does with Worthy on deep balls, so I think Thornton has at least 1 or 2 spike games in his range of outcomes, and again, 18th round, we already have 5 strong wide receivers up top. They're going to be the ones cycling into the lineup as the 3 receivers and probably the flex in most weeks. But, if I get a couple spike weeks from Hurst, a couple from Thornton, they come at the right times, suddenly I've got a great team. It's total points. We're looking for just scoring the most points out of every draft in this tournament, and you can't do that by taking nothing but rookies, and you can't take it by only taking safe players. You need a good combination. There's a couple guys that I am viewing here. Geno Smith does come all the way there. I know I said I was going to take him, but I honestly just didn't care enough. I'm going to take James Conner. I have 17% James Conner. I'm just going to keep taking him. He is almost certainly not going to be a Cardinal. He's at $2 million, like basically nothing guaranteed. He's not going to be the starter. He's not even going to be the backup. He probably wants to play somewhere. He probably wants to be on a winning team or on a team where he's getting touches. I sincerely doubt that he wants to be on a losing team where he's not getting touches. That's not really going to be something that you're going to be able to sell most players on. So I think Connor's the one who gets cut from that backfield. I kind of doubt they would cut Benson. Maybe they trade Benson, but I don't know if there's any team that's just itching to give up even a 7th round pick for Benson at this point. I think Connor just gets cut. I think he gets to go somewhere where he will play. Everyone says Detroit. I think that's an option. He could go to Miami. I don't think they like Wright or Ollie Gordon that much. He could go to Cincinnati, be the back behind Chase Brown. Could go to Kansas City if they're not super enthused about Emmett Johnson. He could go to the Raiders if they don't believe in Mike Washington. Could go to Green Bay. Lots of options for Connor, in my opinion. And we'll see what happens with that. But that's kind of it's a bet I'm making. I have a lot of James Conner, because even in the off chance that he just sticks around for whatever reason, there's also a chance that he just plays more than we would expect for the Cardinals. There's no guarantee that the Cardinals are going to be super intelligent about this, so I'm just playing it knowing that he's a talented vet with a cuttable contract who I know scores fantasy points when he gets touches. Because everyone else down here, all these rookies, they're probably not scoring points. Maybe one of them does, but I don't really want to just continue guessing to see which one of them is going to be the one. I would rather just take a shot. I'm going to take Demario Douglas here, last pick at wide receiver. We do indeed finish with the 2-7-8-3 that we were planning. Final team recap: Justin Herbert and Jared Goff at quarterback. Feels good. 7 running backs: Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Keaton Mitchell, Woody Marks, Jaden Blue, Justice Hill, James Conner. Wide receiver: Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, Carnell Tate, Quentin Johnston, Ted Hurst, Tyquan Thornton, and Demario Pop Douglas. And then our 3 tight ends: Harold Fannin, Chikakonkwo, and Greg Dulcich. Overall, pretty balanced team. Little light at running back, took 2 in the first 4 rounds and then didn't take anyone until round 11 with Keaton Mitchell, but it's a double anchor. Achane and Jacobs have to stay healthy for this team to do well. That's just kind of the reality of every team you draft. You can't have a safety blanket for every single possible downfall or scenario. That's why it's called Gambit. It's balanced. Usually try and draft balance, but we'll go fun for this next one, I'm thinking. We're gonna go back to the lobby here. Gonna do another main event before we get out of here. As you can see, it is just over 50% full, with just about a month remaining until the contest closes. 112,008 total entries available. Only 54,250 are done so far. It's $250,000 to first place, which is excellent. A lovely contest from our friends at Drafters. I'm gonna join a fast draft here. Oof, first one. Need 11 more. Gonna vamp for a bit. That's okay. Folks, if you have not signed up for Drafters yet, and you want to do so, you are able to do so in your location. Please do so using our promo code. It is FN and the plus sign, FN plus. When you do that, you will get a deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. So if you deposit $25, you'll get $25 for free. That'll let you join 5 survival drafts if you so wish. If you deposit $100, you will get $100 free, which would let you join 20 survival drafts, or 15-ish plus main events, and maybe another survival draft or 2, which is not nothing. That's a good crack. That's about 10% of max entering right there, so definitely a good deal. Of course, if you deposit more than 100, it is still capped at 100. So if you deposit $200, you'll still only get $100 free, but that's still $100 free. I don't think many people complain too much about $100 free in anything that they're doing. If you didn't know, Drafters also has pick'ems. They have season-long props for NFL. They have drafts for plenty of other sports. They have WNBA going on right now, golf, tennis, all that good stuff. Other things to do in the lobby for Drafters besides just drafting best ball teams, but if you're watching, you're probably here for the best ball teams. I know I am. Enjoying it so far. Really enjoying having Drafters as a partner. We appreciate their support. We appreciate their confidence in us. If you like this video, if you like this content and you are not already, please remember to subscribe to the Get Tilted YouTube channel, as well as the Fantasy Now Plus YouTube channel and Twitch channel, wherever you might be watching. Lots of great content coming for you in the month of August as we ramp up for the season. We've got a couple live streams going on every week outside of me, but I'm definitely going to be the face you see the most for probably the rest of this summer. Lots of live streams, lots of best ball, but we'll be dipping our toes in other football and fantasy football content as well. Stay tuned there. Tune in when you can, when you want. Let's see, what are we waiting on? Still need 9 more folks here in the main event for a fast draft. If you have any questions, Dynasty, redraft, best ball, game theory, anything, please drop it in the comments. Happy to answer them, talk through it. If you have any updates from the Hall of Fame game, feel free to drop those as well. I imagine there's not going to be many, but you never. 27.5 for Dak seems kind of low. We'd have to pull up stats on basically all of these, but him being 2 less than Goff definitely feels mispriced to me. I think Bo Nix is a little low as well. Herbert, Stafford's pretty high. Mendoza, you can just make the bet that he doesn't play enough games to get to this point. Malik Willis, just depends on what you think about him as a talent. Hurts, it's kind of high for Rodgers at this point. Same with Darnold. Like, I don't know if Sam Darnold can get to 24 passing touchdowns. Like, all due respect. I know he just won a Super Bowl, but Jaden Daniels only being 21.5, also just honestly kind of interesting. That's pretty low comparatively. I would probably slam the under on this passing yardage total for Malik Willis, if I'm honest. Again, Darnold, like 3,700 for Sam Darnold. I just don't think so, man. Like, I know I just took JSN in the last draft, but like, they did lose Kenneth Walker. You know what I mean? Like, they did lose Clint Kubiak. I don't know how confident I truly feel in the Seahawks offense. And maybe they bounce right back, and maybe the egg's on my face, but I just don't think Sam Darnold's that great of a quarterback. I just don't. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl, but did he win a Super Bowl? I would argue his defense. Marv at 825, Bijan at 575. That sounds great to me, to be honest, going over on that. Like, this guy has Tua as his quarterback with Michael Penix in the wings. He could, I don't think he will do 1,000, but like, he could sniff it. Absolutely. So this one, to me, feels like something that I actually really want to do, to be honest. What else is interesting? Don't really want to mess with the Bills. The Bears are all pretty high. I think I think at least one of these guys is not going to get there, but much like in best ball, I don't really know if I want to be making that decision. The draft is full at last, so we are going to pause on that pick'em and head into the draft room. I have the 5-hole this time for my 16th main event draft. Could leave me with another JSN team, or we can get interesting. We will see. Or maybe something weird happens in the top 4 picks again. That'd be nice. Would love a Chase or Puka or Bijan or Gibbs. Don't think I'm going to get one, but it's fun to dream. We've already got folks that might auto draft. So that's a bit of a bummer, but some folks just like to auto draft. Just plug in their ranks and step away and let the computer decide their fate. Nothing crazy here. Do I want back-to-back JSN teams? Yeah. Yeah. We'll do it for now. Maybe get crazy in the second. We'll see. The normal running back run going on here in the second. Barkley at 13, Walker, Achane, and Amarian Hampton. I imagine Chase Brown is one of these next 3 picks as well. He's the next pick. So 2 picks till we get here. Derrick Henry comes off the board. I'll be taking Bowers if he gets to me. Otherwise, I have a different target in mind. A.J. Brown goes, so we will take Brock Bowers. Happy to take him there. Think he's a good pick. I'm not opposed to double elite tight end either. If McBride's the best pick on the board at 29, I will certainly consider it. They have different bye weeks this year. Last year they did not, which really sucked for this particular strategy. Although taking Bowers at all really sucked for this strategy because he was injured so much. But this year, if you're really started out JSN, Brock Bowers, Chris Olave through 3 rounds, don't hate that at all. Again, no RBs through 3, but that's fine. Although it is important to note that the 2 teams in front of me have also gone no RBs. So if there's a running back I like at 44, I should probably take them, because otherwise it's just going to be a true, like, 3 teams right next to each other all going 0 RB, and we're just going to all cannibalize our 0 RB targets, and that's going to be miserable. So definitely interested to see who comes back to me here at 44. Rest of round 3, after Olave, Zay Flowers at 30, Colston Loveland all the way up to 31, Jeremiah Love at 32, Emeka Egbuka, Kyron Williams, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson just went at 36. We are now into round 4. They are thinking about it. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Feel free to drop a comment in the chat if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to talk through, anything that you need a second opinion on or need to bounce the idea off of. Happy to do so. Love talking football in any capacity. As you can tell, I'm just sitting here yapping. So, would love to yap back and forth with someone in the comments, if they so desire. Am I going to be forced to take Javonte here? 7 picks past ADP. That or Jacobs? Again. I only have 3% Javonte. I don't love Javonte, but get him at a discount. Take him here. See what happens. It's basically all running backs at the top of this draft board at the moment. I imagine they'll all be gone at my next pick. What's nice, at least on this turn, is I'll be able to see what the two teams next to me does. See if we're just going to be playing running back chicken, or if they're just going to continue to take top of the queue for the most part. Because I will gladly just pivot back to wide receiver if they are continuing to go running back heavy. I like all three running backs on the screen right now. I like Judkins, Hendo, Irving as well, but don't really want to just take a running back just to take one. Would rather take the player that I think is the best player by ADP. DJ Moore goes. I'm sure the Josh Allen drafter is probably a little peeved at that. Probably should have just taken him at 46 if he really wanted him, but maybe he didn't really want him. Everyone's going running back. Does David Montgomery go? He does not. Do I take Montgomery? Do I take Mike Evans? Do I take Lamar unstacked? Let's go Mike Evans. Just don't love David Montgomery, and I also don't want to just like stack up all of my low-owned players on the same team, because that's just kind of overcorrecting my exposures in the wrong way. Because then basically all of my thin bets are all on the same team anyways, and that's probably also likely to lose just as much as all my heavy bets being on the same team. So you want to layer it in. You know, I have a lower exposure on Olave and Javonte on this team. Let's supplement it with some of my higher exposure players like Bowers, Mike Evans, etc. So through 5 rounds, we have JSN, Brock Bowers, Chris Olave, Javonte Williams, Mike Evans, 8-0-1-3-1. Feel good about that. Don't have the most fun stacks in the world lined up, but that's okay. Right now, we're just kind of worrying about players, and stacks will happen as they happen. Zay Flowers drafter notably passed on Lamar at 54 and took Quinshon Judkins instead. I think that's fine. I think there's probably a certain amount of teams where you want Flowers without Lamar and Lamar teams without Flowers. But I think stacking them up is good, generally, but there's plenty of ways where they can win without each other, or can be the player you need without the other one getting there. So don't think it's dumb by any means to not take Lamar with Flowers at 30. I think it's personal preference. Let's see here. Somewhat unique team from the 12 hole. Only have one running back through 5 rounds. Saquon at 13. Has gone 5 wide receivers besides that, with CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Parker Washington, and Carnell Tate. It's a very nice team. Kind of like that. You're not going to get a ton of that. Jefferson and Lamb fell to 11 and 12 in this draft room just because Genty, Cook, and Taylor all went before pick 11. The Lamar drafter then takes Jaden Daniels, who is stacked with Terry McLaurin. I don't love it, but I don't think that it's bad. I think it's might just be being unique for the sake of being unique, but to some extent that is a viable strategy. Well, Drake May goes. I do not like the board here at all. But there's not really anyone that I feel so inclined to pull up either. I think we're just going to go Jaylen Warren. Have a really dusty, boring running back room so far of Javonte and Jaylen Warren. Basically every single pick got wiped out round 6 on the front half of the board is pretty rough if you don't have one of the receivers that stack with these elite quarterbacks, because otherwise it's pretty slim pickings, not gonna lie. So I am not the type of person that takes Joe Burrow unstacked, basically ever, nor am I trying to backstack him. Don't particularly love going after Caleb unstacked either. We have two teams that have gone double stacking elite quarterbacks now. The 2-hole has Burrow and Hurts. Neither of them are stacked, which I do not like personally. Board is definitely weird in this draft. I will say that. Been weird. There's not really been any values falling. Don't really want QJ again. I think it's between Ramondre and Pollard. I think I'm just going to go Ramondre. Different bye week than Warren. Don't really like Warren and Pollard both being on bye as my second and third best running backs. Not loving this team so far, but still plenty of time to add some of my favorite later round guys to it. Just have a different flavor up at the top with some of the better late round picks later. I think that's a perfectly viable way to build. Through 7, we have a 0-3-3-1. Javonte, Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson at running back. Still have JSN, Olave, Mike Evans at wide receiver, and Brock Bowers at tight end. This draft is going much slower than the last one, I think. Which is fine, but it's definitely coming to a bit of a crawl, if I'm honest. What is the CMC drafter? Directly behind me. They stacked AJ Brown, so they do believe in stacking, and Flowers. They have Flowers and Burden, and both Caleb and Lamar are gone. I don't think they would take Brock Purdy at 91. At least I hope not. They might, but we'll see. There's definitely been some wonky stuff going on this side of the board, which makes me feel a little sketchier about letting Brock Purdy go by, but there's a few players that I would probably pass up on Purdy and try and push around the turn just to see if I can build a better team. We'll see if any of those specific players comes back to me. Eighth round so far. Jonathan Brooks continues to climb up to 85. Michael Pittman Jr., Tucker Kraft, Rigo Dowdle. Dak Prescott goes unstacked. RJ Harvey goes. I am on deck. What does the 6-hole do? Takes Makai Lemon. Wandale's fine. Chuba's fine. I think I'm just going to take Purdy. I don't really want to mess around with it. No one else was really screaming there. Harvey and Lemon were the two guys that I was most interested in. They go the 2 picks before me, which is totally fine, but I'm just going to lock up Purdy with Mike Evans. Feel strong about that. Right now, my other available stacks, Tyler Shuck, Sam Darnold, Fernando Mendoza, technically Aaron Rodgers. Which is fine. Is the one hole gonna double tap Goff and Dart? That would be my guess with Neighbors. We'll see if he does or not. Yep. Makes sense. Michael Wilson goes. Let's see here. What are we going to do at 101? I like Corum and Addison. Mahomes is interesting. Goes Stafford. I need more Blake Corum. I really do. I think there's a chance that he gets a pretty good amount of work this year. Rams seem to love him as much as they love Kyren, I think. Corum still has mega upside. He's on a good offense. He has touchdown upside. Gives me a bit of a youth injection in this running back room, which feels good. Yeah. Only having 3% Corum. It's honestly just, I have a lot of Fannin, I have a lot of Addison, I have a lot of Mahomes. I'm pretty balanced on a lot of players in this realm, and just like, I don't have a ton of fades. Yeah. This next pocket is still just kind of all running backs. There's a few wide receivers that are fun, but it's also Shuck. Where's the Jordan Tyson drafter? Right here. He has 0 quarterbacks so far, which is concerning because he might take Shuck here at 114, which would kind of suck. But I am not entitled to Tyler Shuck. I would just like Tyler Shuck. So we'll see what happens there. If Shuck gets to me at 116, I don't know. I'd be tempted to push him around the turn. I'd be nervous about the 3-hole drafter. Just deciding they are ready for their second quarterback unstacked. Everyone else has 2 quarterbacks on that side of the board. Worthy goes. That's a good get for them. He does go Shuck. Unfortunate. Fannin goes. He would have been nice. Don't have many stack options here. Dubs is interesting. Coker. I love JCM. Don't have much Kyle Monangai, but I don't want to go too many thin bets. Don't really want to backstack Baker. Love you can't backstack. I'm going to go JCM. I just think he's the starter. I really do. I just think he's the starter. And if he's not, then so be it. You know? But I want to bet on a good projected offense, an explosive back with talent. I don't believe in Rachaad White whatsoever. So kind of a weird build here for sure. I have 5 running backs, still only 3 wide receivers, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end. We will catch up at wide receiver, I promise. There's plenty of solid ones coming up in the next couple of rounds that I feel totally fine with. Yeah, the Burrow Hurts drafter takes Jordan Love unstacked for absolutely no reason. 3-hole still doesn't have a quarterback, so we'll see what he does about that. I'm sorry, they do. They have Josh Allen. They don't have a second quarterback. I'm not taking Baker here. Am I really going to get there with Baker Mayfield stacked with Kate Otten and Ted Hurst? Respectfully, I don't think so. So, I'm interested in Coker. Technically, Debo is also interesting, stacked with Purdy. Concepcion is interesting. Let's go Coker. Opens up Bryce Young. Gets me a fourth wide receiver with some juice. Up to a 1-5-4-3. I'm sorry, a 1-5-4-1. Brock Purdy as the lone quarterback so far. Running backs, we've got Javonte, 7 picks past ADP. Jaylen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, Blake Corum, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Wide receiver, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, and Jalen Coker, and Brock Bowers at tight end. I'm just going to go ahead and queue up Sam Darnold, queue up Bryce Young. That would ideally be my quarterback room. At the same time, they go where a lot of very preferable wide receiver picks go. So I do wonder just how much I want to mess around with that. There's just been a lot of teams that are doing weird stuff. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happening in these rooms. We'll see. This is... Sometimes you've got to thread the needle on quarterback in these rooms, and this is going to be one of those times. We'll see who comes back. Unfortunately, Aaron Jones is a great pick if he comes all the way back to 140. That would probably be my last running back, to be honest. Shaheed, we could double stack and just really, really discourage anyone from taking Sam Darnold, at least in theory. Stribling goes. I think it's Jones if he's there. If he's not there, he's not. Do I like double stacking Sam Darnold? I was just saying how little I believe in Sam Darnold. And I still don't fully trust the drafters over here to make a good decision. And then I would just have 2 Seahawks unstacked. I think I'm just going to take Sam Darnold, to be honest. Don't want to mess around with it too much. Rooms can get kind of wild when it comes to quarterback. I could have taken Shaheed there. 3-hole, could have just taken Darnold anyways, because they need a second quarterback. Don't particularly trust them. You would have hoped that they would take Stroud, but don't really think that they would. I don't know. They take Shaheed. We're getting into... I'm probably going to push Bryce Young, and if he doesn't come back to me, then so be it. To be honest. Because there's just too many good wide receivers, in my opinion, in this range, and I need wide receiver a lot more than I need a third quarterback right now. Still not worried about second tight end, basically at all. Could take Stroud, and I mean, do I want to backstack? That's an interesting thought. Stroud and then try and get like Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz. It's kind of the same thing that I said about Baker, but he's at least cheaper. No. I'm gonna take Hunter. I just have so much Travis Hunter, and I'm gonna continue having so much Travis Hunter. He's just always the best pick on the board when we get into the 13th, 14th round, in my opinion. Because he does not need to do very much to be a massive win for you. That's my bet. That's why I have about 20% of him. So I'm also willing to push Bryce because Teteroa McMillan drafter has 3 quarterbacks already. Who on earth are you going to backstack Bryce Young with? The tight end? Like, are you going to draft Jatavian Sanders? Like, I guess, if you want. Certainly not what I would suggest, but you can. You know. He can certainly go unstacked, but I took a chance on him because I don't really think he's like that essential to this team. I can get Geno later, I can get Mendoza later, I can backstack Rodgers. So, not super worried about my QB3. I definitely need a third quarterback. I don't think Purdy and Darnold is strong enough, but Young goes, that's fine. Not worried about that. Who are we looking at for this next pick? Would love Flanoy if he gets all the way to me. Would love Trey Harris. Would love A.D. Mitchell. Would definitely love Denzel Boston. I think Boston would be my first choice if he gets all the way back. Hearing a lot of really positive stuff about Boston so far in Browns camp. Take that for what you will. I'm not super enthused about anything coming out of Cleveland besides Harold Fannin, but you know, it's not the end of the world. If Mitchell goes, then I probably just take Hunter Henry. You would think, I guess the Drake May drafter can't take, okay, now he can take Schultz. That makes sense. We're going to take A.D. Mitchell. Again, an upside swing at wide receiver. Gives me another quarterback out. I have Geno and Mendoza available to me. Let's see, who has 2 quarterbacks only? You do, and you have Tucker. You only have 1 still. You have 3. You have 2. You now have 2. You have 2. 3. 2. 3. 2 and 2. Hey. Let's see here. Do I just take Geno? So I could take Geno and kind of hope that Sadiq just kind of falls from injury stuff. Let's do that. Let's take Geno Smith. Obviously, if I take Sadiq, I'll need a third tight end, which isn't the end of the world. I'm not going to cry about that or be too upset. We're going to just add Sadiq to the queue. We're going to remove Mendoza from the queue because I do not need 4 quarterbacks. So, team so far, we've got a 3-5-6-1 through 15 rounds. At quarterback, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. At running back, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, Blake Corum, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. At wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Jalen Coker, Travis Hunter, Adonai Mitchell. Still just Brock Bowers at tight end. We have 5 picks left. We will see how this plays out. Definitely have some wish list players that I would love on this team. Not going to be able to get them all, and that's okay. But we will see what happens. We have reached the realm of where ADP stops mattering for the most part, and people are just going to take who they're going to take. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, this draft is just dragging. Everyone is taking the full clock, thinking about every single pick. As you can see, plenty of experienced drafters in this room. You know, we're on team 127 for this person, 109 for Debo, 134 for Stank, 106 for Reg VT. So this is only main event 16 for me. Don't know how many I will get through before it closes, but we're going to keep drafting and see how that goes, to be honest. Coming up here, as fun of a faller as it is for Sadiq, I'd probably take Terrence Ferguson over him if they're both there. We'll see if they are, but I want more Terrence Ferguson in my life. He's a different bye week than Bowers. And then if Sadiq comes all the way back, then sure. We'll treat ourselves. Do a little late back stack of Geno Smith. But we'll see how this goes. Sadiq goes. That makes it pretty easy. I'll take Terrence Ferguson. So this will just be a 2 tight end team then, which is probably for the best, to be honest. I'm thinking 1 more running back, 3 more wide receivers. Yeah, 1 more running back, 3 more wide receivers. As far as running backs, again, we are cleaned out here, and more going. So definitely in the less fun zone for that. Still wide receivers I like a lot. Pat Bryant just went. Jeremy Bernard is good. Cyrus Allen. I have a lot of Keenan Allen. Torrey Horton is fun. Jacoby Lane is getting a lot of hype. Could stack Christian Kirk. Devon Vele. I still think Elijah Surratt is also a good pick. We've already taken Pop. No more Brandon Ayuk for me, respectfully. Yeah, we'll see how deep into the dredges we have to go. I think Antonio Williams is pretty much gone, unfortunately, which, you know, wasn't that impressive a prospect. Didn't really want to be invested in him anyways. I kind of thought this was always a likely outcome, was that they signed someone. I'm taking Jeremy Bernard here. Second round pick. Not much more to say, honestly. Second round pick, has opportunity to play right away. All we need is a couple weeks out of you, and he'll pay off in the 17th. So, feel good about that. We are winding down here. 3 more picks, and then that will probably do it for me tonight. But appreciate everyone who has tuned in tonight, left comments, asked questions. Greatly appreciate it. A lot of tight end value still on the board. I do not need a third tight end, but I think Helm and Freiermuth are both like good picks, solid values. And I think in the 18th round, like, you kind of just want good players, or players that are going to play a lot. And if it's at a position you don't need, but it's not going to hurt you, like, I think I'm just going to take Gunnar Helm here at pick 212. Like, he's going to play, he's going to get touches. That's fine. That is totally fine. Running back's pretty wiped outside of just doing James Conner again, but I could, well, I think I'm okay with that 5, to be honest. I don't think any of the running backs here are just like gonna meaningfully change anything or do anything for this team. Ooh, goodness. Man, wide receiver gets real ugly real fast. I guess Tez Johnson might be rosterable if Josh Palmer is theoretically fighting for a starter in Buffalo. We'll see how this goes. We will see how this goes. I get Jacoby Lane, which feels nice. He's getting a lot of excellent buzz in camp in Baltimore. Seems like he is, as of right now, the leader in the clubhouse to get the wide receiver 3 role, maybe even ascend to the wide receiver 2 role at some point. So that feels good. Last pick here is going to be a wide receiver still. If he's there, I'll probably go Christian Kirk or Jalen Noel. Could go Pop Douglas again. Not ridiculously inclined to do so, but we will see. Gotta think real hard about these 19th and 20th round picks. Could make or break your team for sure. Yeah. My general drafting style right now is that I just need to be done with running back by like round 15, 16-ish at the latest. It's just these names after are just disgusting. Like, I know the last draft I ended up taking like Justice Hill and James Conner. Doesn't feel good though. Does not feel good at all. So it is what it is. It might just be Pop Douglas again, to be honest. I don't particularly want to double up on Ravens now. Pop Douglas goes. Do I want Malachi Fields? Not overly. Do I want Kevontae Turpin? Not overly. You know what? Let's just do Turpin. I'm sure there will be a week somewhere in there where he gets like a rushing touchdown or something. Maybe that's helpful to this team. Alrighty, folks. Finish up with a 3-5-9-3. Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith at quarterback. Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, Blake Corum, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt at running back. Wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Jalen Coker, Travis Hunter, Adonai Mitchell, Jeremy Bernard, Jacoby Lane, Kevontae Turpin. Tight end, you have Brock Bowers, Terrence Ferguson, and Gunnar Helm. Pretty weird team. I wouldn't say it's balanced. I'd say it's just kind of all over the place, if I'm honest. I don't really love that team. If I had to give it a grade, that'd be like a C+ team for me. But that's going to do it for me today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. And one final reminder, if you want to sign up for Drafters and you have not already, please use our promo code FN and the plus sign, it's FN plus. On your first deposit, you will get a 100% deposit match up to $100, which you can use on these best ball tournaments or pick'ems, however you'd like to use them. But use that promo code FN plus, get the deposit match bonus, and join us on Drafters. We will be back hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to try and stream a lot more in this month of August leading up. So, until tomorrow night, it has been Tim from Fantasy Now Plus. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the Hall of Fame game as it's still going on. And we'll catch you later.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.